Virginia Woolf, a famous English writer, gave the world a room of one's own in 1929. Woolf said that women need financial independence and their own space to be really creative. Many women wanted freedom to express themselves, and her work really spoke to them. Woolf pointed out the unfair obstacles in a male-dominated society. Her words remind us that real equality needs actual resources and personal freedom. Woolf's essay shows how powerful ideas can be. It inspires women who have trouble getting an education and other opportunities. Imagine a world where every woman has the money and freedom to follow her dreams. This is the world Woolf imagined, a world without gender barriers. It's a vision that keeps inspiring women to work for a fairer and more equal society. Like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with more inspiring content. Woolf strongly believed that financial independence isn't a luxury, but something women need to be creative. She knew that depending on men for money often trapped women in the home, stopping their minds and artistic dreams from growing. Woolf uses the made-up character of Judith Shakespeare, Shakespeare's equally talented sister, to show this. Judith doesn't get the same chances as her brother, so she can't develop her talent. She's made to get married and take care of the house, and her potential is sadly wasted. This sad example shows how much Woolf believed that financial security helps women break free from what society expects and follow their creative dreams. Without financial independence, women were often just seen as inspiration for art or supporters of it, their own creative voices quiet or hidden. Woolf's message is still really important today. Women have made big steps in becoming more financially powerful, but there are still differences. Woolf's call for economic justice is a strong reminder that real equality means not just equal chances, but also equal pay for women's work. Besides financial freedom, Woolf also talked about how important personal space is for women's creativity. She says that having a room of one's own is more than just having a physical space. It means having independence, privacy, and the freedom to think, dream, and create without being interrupted or judged. In a time when women were expected to always be doing chores and going to social events, having a space of their own was a radical idea. Woolf felt that a room of one's own gave women what they needed to explore ideas and be artistic. She says that not having such a space could stop creativity and limit what women could do in literature. Now, with so much going on online and so much information all around us, having a quiet space to think and be creative is even more important. Woolf's ideas remind us that protecting our time and setting boundaries are important for our inner selves and for helping us be creative. To really understand how important a room of one's own is, we need to understand the time it was written in. In England in the early 1900s, women's roles were very strict. They mostly couldn't go to college, couldn't own property, and were expected to get married and be mothers instead of using their minds. After World War I, Woolf saw how women's roles were changing and how the movement for women's right to vote was growing. Her essay shows these changes in society and the hopes of women who were fighting for the right to make their own choices and be heard. Even with all the limitations, women writers were starting to appear, challenging the usual ways of writing and offering new ways of seeing the world. Woolf, a groundbreaking modern writer herself, knew that women had a lot of potential in literature and other areas that hadn't been used. Her essay was like a call to action for these women, telling them to take their rightful place in the world of ideas. A room of one's own became a statement for a generation of women who were determined to break free from old traditions and decide for themselves what it meant to be a woman in the 1900s. Woolf's made-up character, Shakespeare's sister, has become a powerful symbol of all the things women throughout history could have done but didn't get to do. This imaginary character, who didn't get the education, chances or support her brother got, represents the many women whose voices weren't heard and whose talents were held back by society. By making up a female version of Shakespeare, Woolf makes us think about all the great works of art that we've missed out on because of the obstacles women writers have faced. She reminds us that being smart and creative doesn't depend on being male or female, and that having access to education, resources and support is super important for helping creative people grow. Women writers, often ignored, have had to fight to be noticed and respected. What makes Woolf so important is that she inspired generations of women to challenge these unfair situations and take their rightful place in literature. Her work is like a light of hope and encouragement, reminding us that the voices of women writers are really important for having a rich and interesting literary world. A Room of One's Own, although written almost 100 years ago, is still surprisingly relevant today. Its message of empowerment, financial independence, and the importance of personal space still speaks to women from all walks of life and all ages. The obstacles Woolf talked about may have changed, but the main problems she brought up are still around. Women today, while having more freedom and opportunities than before, still have trouble achieving real equality. The gender pay gap, unconscious bias, and what society expects still affect women's ability to follow their passions and reach their full potential. Woolf's work reminds us that the fight for equality isn't over. It tells us to question stereotypes, get rid of obstacles, and make a world where every woman has the freedom and resources to follow her dreams. Woolf's essay keeps starting conversations and inspiring action. Woolf's message reminds us that the fight for equal rights for women isn't over. Obstacles in the system and what society expects still limit women's chances and hold back their creative potential. We need to challenge these inequalities and build a world where every woman can follow her passions. This means dealing with unfairness in law and money and questioning what society thinks is normal. Make sure all girls get a good education and are encouraged to explore what they're interested in. Close the gap between how much men and women are paid and make workplaces fair for everyone. Build a culture that appreciates women's voices and ideas. Support women writers, artists, business owners and leaders. Make their voices heard and give them places to share their stories. Honor Woolf's legacy by making a world where every woman has a room of her own.